Fire. Unlock the power of Stoicism in your daily life. Fire. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by stress, negativity, or challenges beyond your control? Imagine facing every obstacle with unshakable calm and resilience. That's the power of Stoic Daily, a philosophy that helps you master your emotions, stay focused, and find peace in any situation. In today's video, we'll dive into life-changing Stoic principles that you can apply daily to build mental strength, reduce stress, and live with greater purpose. Backhand index pointing right. Don't just watch, take action. Hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss your dose of Stoic daily wisdom. Let's begin. Rocket. The danger of rejecting learning. Wisdom begins with admitting ignorance. Have you ever met someone who refuses to listen, certain that they already know everything? No matter how much insight you offer, they shut the door, unwilling to consider another perspective. This is the hallmark of ignorance, not the lack of knowledge, but the refusal to seek it. The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This simple yet profound statement reveals one of the greatest barriers to wisdom, the illusion of knowing. True knowledge does not come from clinging to our existing beliefs but from questioning, learning, and adapting. Why do people reject learning? At its core, rejecting knowledge is an act of ego. It feels safe to believe we have all the answers, that we have nothing left to learn. Admitting ignorance can feel like weakness, a blow to our pride. But in reality, the wisest people are those who recognize how little they truly know. Socrates, another great philosopher, built his entire philosophy on the idea that wisdom begins when we acknowledge our own ignorance. The Stoic daily practice teaches us to approach life with a beginner's mind, always open to new lessons. Imagine a cup already full. No matter how much fresh water you try to pour in, it will overflow, unable to hold anything new. The same happens with our minds when we assume we have nothing left to learn. The cost of a closed mind. History is filled with examples of brilliant individuals who failed simply because they refused to learn. Think of leaders who dismissed wise counsel, inventors who ignored innovation, or businesses that collapsed because they resisted change. When we reject learning, we reject growth. In our daily lives, this might manifest as refusing to take feedback, dismissing new ideas, or clinging stubbornly to outdated beliefs. But Stoic daily wisdom reminds us, true strength lies in adaptability, in the willingness to challenge ourselves and expand our understanding. How to cultivate a Stoic learning mindset. 1. Embrace humility. Accept that there is always something to learn from every person and every situation. 2. Ask questions. Instead of assuming you're right, seek to understand. Challenge your own beliefs. 3. Stay curious, read, listen, and explore new perspectives daily. Wisdom is a journey, not a destination. 4. Detach from ego. Growth comes from recognizing our limitations, not pretending they don't exist. Stop blaming others, take control of your life. Have you ever caught yourself blaming someone else for your problems? Maybe it was your boss who didn't appreciate your work, a friend who betrayed your trust, or society that made life unfair. It's easy to point fingers, to believe that our struggles are caused by forces beyond our control. But according to Stoic philosophy, this mindset is a trap, one that keeps us weak, bitter, and powerless. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the essence of Stoic daily wisdom. The world may be unpredictable, people may disappoint us, and circumstances may be harsh, but our reaction is always within our control. The moment we take full responsibility for our lives, we reclaim our power. Why do we blame others? Blaming others is a defense mechanism. It protects our ego from facing uncomfortable truths. It's easier to believe that our failures are the fault of a cruel world rather than admit that we could have done better. But while blaming others provides temporary relief, it ultimately robs us of growth. The Stoics teach that external events are beyond our control, but how we respond to them is entirely up to us. Imagine two people facing the same hardship, perhaps both lose their jobs. One sinks into despair, blaming the economy, their employer, or bad luck. The other sees it as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and find a new path. The difference isn't in the event, but in the mindset. The cost of blame. Blaming others may feel justified, but it comes with a price. 1. You give away your power. When you blame external factors, you become a victim of circumstance instead of the master of your fate. 2. You remain stagnant. Growth comes from self-reflection and improvement. If you always blame others, you never ask, what can I do differently? 3. You become bitter. Resentment builds when you believe life is unfair. But bitterness never improves a situation, it only poisons your mind. How to take full responsibility. 1. Own your choices. Every decision you've made has led you to where you are. Accept it, and focus on what you can do next. 2. Change what you can, accept what you can't. Stoic daily wisdom teaches us to focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and mindset. 3. Turn challenges into growth. Instead of seeing obstacles as unfair, see them as training for a stronger mind. 4. Practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, am I blaming others because it's easier than taking responsibility? Stop blaming others, own your life. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to point fingers when things go wrong? We blame our boss for our lack of career growth, our family for not supporting us, society for making things difficult. The problem with this mindset is that it keeps us stuck. The more we blame, the less control we have over our own lives. But Stoic philosophy teaches us a simple yet profound truth: blaming others is weakness, taking responsibility is strength. The great Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This is the core of Stoic daily wisdom. Life is unpredictable, hardships are inevitable, but the one thing we always control is our response. Instead of wasting energy on blame, we should focus on what we can change, ourselves. The illusion of blame. Blaming others is comforting. It allows us to avoid responsibility. If we believe our problems are caused by external factors, we don't have to face the hard truth that we might be part of the problem. But this illusion comes at a cost. It leaves us powerless. If we believe that our happiness depends on others, we will always be at their mercy. Think about two people who go through the same hardship, maybe both grew up in difficult circumstances. One person remains bitter, blaming their past for all their failures. The other uses their struggles as motivation to grow stronger. The difference isn't in their past, but in their mindset. The first person is a prisoner of blame, the second has chosen freedom through responsibility. Why blaming others hurts you? Blame is a dangerous habit. Here's why. 1. It steals your power. When you blame others, you hand over control of your life. You become a victim, not a creator. 2. It prevents growth. Self-improvement begins with self-reflection. If you never take responsibility, you never change. 3. It creates bitterness. a person who blames others for everything will always feel wronged, trapped in resentment. Taking back control. The Stoics believe that strength comes from within. Instead of blaming others, we must 1. Accept responsibility. Your choices, thoughts, and actions shape your life. Own them. 2. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. Stoic Daily reminds us that we can't control the world, but we can control our response to it. 3. Turn obstacles into growth. See every challenge as an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and more resilient. 4. Self-reflect. When something goes wrong, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? Master your emotions, reclaim your power. Have you ever let anger dictate your actions, only to regret it later? Have you made a decision out of fear, only to realize it was a mistake? Losing control of our emotions is one of the greatest weaknesses we can have. It makes us reactive, irrational, and vulnerable. Yet, this is exactly what the Stoic philosophy warns us against. The great Seneca once advised, the best remedy for anger is delay. Why? Because emotions, though powerful, are fleeting. When we allow them to control us, we surrender our ability to think clearly. But when we learn to master them, we reclaim our power. The ability to pause, reflect, and respond rationally is the mark of true wisdom. The prison of emotional reactivity. Imagine two warriors standing on a battlefield. One is calm, analyzing every move before striking. The other is consumed by rage, swinging wildly without thought. Who do you think will win? The answer is obvious. In life, as in battle, the person who controls their emotions controls the outcome. Yet, many of us live as the second warrior, reacting impulsively to life's challenges. When someone insults us, we lash out. When things don't go our way, we let frustration consume us. This emotional slavery blinds us to logic and makes us easy to manipulate. Consider a person who lets anger control them. They argue without listening, destroy relationships, and make decisions that haunt them for years. Or someone paralyzed by fear, too afraid to take risks, too hesitant to chase their dreams. In both cases, emotions rule their lives, leaving them trapped in a cycle of suffering. Why emotional control matters. Failing to control our emotions comes with heavy consequences. 1. Impulsive decisions lead to regret. Many of life's biggest mistakes come from moments of uncontrolled emotion. 2. We give others power over us. When someone can provoke us at will, we are no longer in control of ourselves. 3. It prevents growth. A person ruled by emotions rarely stops to think, reflect, or learn from their experiences. How to master your emotions. The Stoics teach us that emotions are not the enemy, our lack of control over them is. Here's how we can take back control. 1. Pause before reacting. When emotions rise, don't act immediately. Breathe, step back, and wait. The longer you delay your reaction, the more clarity you gain. 2. Question your feelings. Ask yourself, is this anger justified? Will this fear still matter in a year? Emotions often lie to us, don't let them dictate your life. 3. Detach from the chaos. Understand that external events don't control you, your perception does. Stoic Daily reminds us, you are in charge of how you interpret and respond to everything. 4. Channel emotion into strength. Instead of suppressing emotions, use them as fuel. Let anger push you to self-improvement, let fear motivate preparation, let sadness deepen wisdom. The danger of stubbornness, a prison of one's own making. Imagine standing on a sinking ship, yet refusing to leave because you believe it will stay afloat. The water rises, the ship tilts, but you still hold on, convinced that admitting you were wrong would be worse than drowning. This is the mindset of a stubborn person, someone who refuses to change even when faced with undeniable truth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that wisdom comes from adaptability, from the willingness to challenge our own beliefs and evolve. But those who are stubborn and inflexible trap themselves in a cycle of mistakes. They refuse to listen, refuse to learn, and ultimately, refuse to grow. Why stubbornness is a weakness, not a strength. Many people mistake stubbornness for strength, believing that standing firm in their opinions shows confidence. But there is a fine line between being resilient and being closed-minded. A wise person stands by their principles but is open to new evidence. A fool clings to their opinions, no matter how flawed. History is filled with examples of those who refused to change, and suffered for it. Businesses that ignored market shifts and collapsed, leaders who dismissed warnings and led their people to disaster, individuals who held on to toxic beliefs and destroyed their relationships. The pattern is always the same: refusing to change leads to failure. The cost of stubbornness. 1. Repeating the same mistakes. If you never admit you're wrong, you'll never correct your course. 2. Losing respect and trust. People respect those who can grow and improve. Stubbornness isolates you. 3. Missing out on opportunities. The world constantly evolves. Those who don't adapt get left behind. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. For I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone." The only harm is to persist in self-deception and ignorance. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom, the ability to let go of false pride and seek truth above all else. How to overcome stubbornness. If you recognize stubborn tendencies in yourself, there is a way out. Here's how you can embrace change and grow. 1. Practice intellectual humility. Remind yourself that you don't know everything. No one does. 2. Listen more than you speak. The more you listen, the more you learn. Wisdom begins with openness. 3. Embrace the idea of being wrong. Being wrong is not a weakness. It's an opportunity to improve. 4. Surround yourself with different perspectives. If you only listen to those who agree with you, you'll never see beyond your own bias. Lack of self-awareness, the greatest obstacle to growth. Imagine walking through life with a mirror in your hand, but never once looking into it. You see the world, you see others, but you never truly see yourself. This is the tragedy of those who lack self-awareness. They move through life blaming others, oblivious to their own flaws, blind to the role they play in their own misfortunes. Stoic philosophy teaches that self-awareness is the foundation of wisdom. Without it, we are like a sailor navigating without a compass, adrift, lost, and destined to repeat the same mistakes. Yet, many people resist self-examination because it is uncomfortable. It is far easier to blame the world than to face the truth about ourselves. The illusion of innocence. One of the greatest pitfalls of human nature is the tendency to believe that problems always come from the outside. My boss is unfair. My friends don't appreciate me. The world is against me. Rarely do people stop to ask, what if the problem is me? Socrates, one of the greatest philosophers of all time, famously said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing." This isn't just humility, it's an invitation to look inward, to recognize our own ignorance, and to seek improvement. Those who refuse to do this remain trapped in a cycle of self-deception. The high cost of blindness. When we lack self-awareness, we suffer in ways we may not even realize. 1. We push others away. People grow tired of those who refuse to acknowledge their own flaws. Friendships, relationships, and careers are all strained by a lack of introspection. 2. We repeat the same mistakes. If you don't recognize what you're doing wrong, how can you ever improve? 3. We remain stagnant. Personal growth requires reflection. Without it, we stay stuck in the same patterns, year after year. Think about the last time you faced a conflict. Did you immediately assume it was the other person's fault? Or did you pause and consider your own role in the situation? The ability to question ourselves is the difference between wisdom and ignorance. Short-term thinking, the trap of the unwise. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path is smooth and easy, leading to immediate pleasure but hidden dangers ahead. The other path is steep and challenging, yet it promises long-term rewards. Which path would you take? Many people, without hesitation, choose the first path. They prioritize instant gratification, ignoring the long-term consequences of their actions. This is the hallmark of short-term thinking, a mindset that values immediate pleasure over lasting fulfillment, momentary gain over true wisdom. The cost of living only for today. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, constantly reminded himself of the fleeting nature of life. He understood that every action should be weighed against not just its immediate impact, but its future consequences. Yet, many people fail to think this way. We see this in countless aspects of life. In finances, people recklessly spend money on luxuries while ignoring their future security. They chase the thrill of spending but later suffer under the weight of debt. In health, a moment of indulgence, a lack of discipline, and years later, they wonder why their body betrays them. In relationships, harsh words spoken in anger, trust broken for short-term pleasure, and only when it's too late do they realize what they've lost. This is the danger of not thinking beyond the present moment. It blinds us to the future we are shaping with every choice we make. The wisdom of looking ahead. The Stoics teach us that true wisdom lies in understanding that life is fleeting, that every decision should be made with a clear awareness of its long-term impact. Marcus Aurelius urged himself to reflect on the impermanence of life, not as a source of fear, but as a guide for making wise choices. To live wisely, we must ask ourselves, will this choice serve me well not just today, but years from now? Am I sacrificing future happiness for momentary pleasure? If I look back on this decision in old age, will I regret it? When we pause to consider these questions, we begin to see the world differently. We shift from seeking pleasure to seeking meaning, from chasing comfort to pursuing true fulfillment. Breaking free from the cycle of regret. Changing this mindset is not easy, but it is necessary. Here's how we can train ourselves to think long-term. 1. Practice delayed gratification. Learn to resist the urge for immediate pleasure in favor of greater future rewards. 2. Visualize the future. Imagine yourself years from now looking back on today's choices. Would your future self be grateful or full of regret? 3. Meditate on impermanence. Remind yourself that nothing lasts forever. Make decisions that align with what truly matters in the long run. 4. Follow the Stoic virtues. Wisdom, temperance, and discipline are the antidotes to impulsive, short-sighted thinking. Final thought: choose the right path. Every moment, we stand at a crossroads. One path is easy but leads to regret. The other is difficult but leads to wisdom and fulfillment. The choice is always ours. So, next time you are faced with a decision, ask yourself, Am I thinking only of today, or am I shaping a future I can be proud of?